Hello everybody, my name is SL, and last year I played through every single Sonic game on my Twitch channel. So, that obviously gives me the moral authority to decide what's a good Sonic game and what's a bad Sonic game, so we're going to put them into a tier list. So in games where I've had to play Sonic 1 for a video, I've said this many times, it very much suffers from first game syndrome. It really is not fun to go back and replay. I've tried to go back and replay it and learn it, and I rarely ever finish it because it's just not really that fun to play. I don't think it's the worst Sonic game. There are definitely Sonic games worse than Sonic 1, but there's not great ones. So I'm just going to put it in a C because I don't really have fun going back to play it, but there's worse. There's worse Sonic games, absolutely. Sonic CD, so I okay. Like, I know CD has a lot of fans. I know a lot of people like CD. It's not really my favorite. I don't really like CD all that much. Honestly, if you're asking me personally, I kind of rank CD at like an equivalent of 1. I don't really like it too much. I understand what they were going for with hunting for the holograph and the robot generator, but it's not really that fun to go treasure hunting. When you're playing as Knuckles in Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2, it's a bit different. You can glide around, you can climb walls. Treasure hunting's a lot more fun because of Knuckles' skill set. When you're doing that as Sonic, it's really not as fun. Because you have to rely on the spin dash and stuff to get to higher places or do precision platforming. It's really not that fun to... So honestly, it's just gonna go here. Alright, Sonic 2. Instantly, already we're getting so much better. Because I really like Sonic 2. The two classic games I've gone back and replayed the most are definitely Sonic 2 and Sonic 3. So I like Sonic 2, especially with the Origins and modern ports. You can use Tails to fly. It really makes exploration so much easier. When you're not just Sonic, exploring is actually fun, believe it or not. Yeah, I have a lot more fun with Sonic 2, the levels are a lot better, music's a lot more enjoyable, the bosses are more fun in my opinion. Yeah, I just like Sonic 2 is just overall a much better package than the other two, so I'm gonna put it in a B. I think a B is a respectable place. Sonic 3, I'm using this logo because I'm judging this based on the Origin port where they're stitched together and also both games like as a package, not just as one game on its own. I think just the virtue of it being together, I think I have to put it just a bit above Sonic 2. Just because it is just a much larger experience. Having 3 playable characters, all the stories you can do, the Blue Sphere challenges are great, and also if the levels are just a step above Sonic 2's levels, in my opinion, I think they're just much grander and much larger, but in the good way. And also I think that, while I think that looking for the big rings isn't as fun as just getting to a checkpoint and getting 50 rings like you do in Sonic 2, I do think the Blue Sphere challenge is better than Half Pipe challenge. Even if I am better at the Half Pipe, but I do think the Blue Spheres is a better approach. Especially since Tails can just screw you over on the Half Pipe and just waste the whole run. Whereas, at least with Sonic 3, it kind of feels like your own fault. You feel a lot more in control. Alright, Sonic Adventure. When I am talking about Sonic Adventure, I am talking about DX. I know there are some people who really do not like DX. I never understood the hate personally. They look like the same game to me, like genuinely. Getting into the game, if you know me, you know where Sonic Adventure is going. That is going straight up to the top. Sonic Adventure is hands down my favorite game of all time. It's such a good game. You have Sonic's 2D gameplay perfectly translated into 3D. Beautiful hub worlds to explore that don't feel too big and open, so you feel like you're there doing nothing. The levels are so fun to just replay. I've gone back and just replayed the levels time and time again. And also, you don't get to just play as Sonic, you get to play as Tails, who has its own gameplay, Knuckles, who has his own, Amy, who has her own. They introduce Big and Gamma, who have their own gameplay, and all are just so much fun to play. As well as that, also Chaos is such a good villain. I really like Chaos, like as a villain from a design point. Sure, he may not say something in it or have much of a character, but I love what they did with him. I love his design. I love that he's a Chow protector. I also like Tikal as a character as well, even if she's not in the story for much of it. The music as well is so good. It's so amazing. I love so many songs on this soundtrack. But there's so many great level themes, as well as also Open Your Heart was in this game. Like, how could you not love this game? Genuinely, I struggle to understand how people do not love Sonic Adventure more. But anyway, Sonic Adventure is hands down my favorite game of all time. Not just favorite Sonic game, favorite game of all time. I will always love Sonic Adventure. That's going in the top slot. Alright, Sonic Adventure 2. I am judging the Steam Battle version. That's the only version I've ever played. And you know what? While I don't like it as much as Sonic Adventure, I still think it's an S tier game. This is probably my second favorite if we're judging just Sonic games. I think second favorite game overall might be a bit of a stretch, but second favorite Sonic game, I think that's very fair. I love what they did with Sonic Adventure 2, feels like a natural extension of the Sonic Adventure gameplay style. I do think the mech and treasure hunting could have been a lot more fun. You know, the mech just feels a bit slow. I know that was kind of the point, but it isn't as fun to play. And also the treasure hunting, and I don't know why they did what they did with the treasure hunting. They tried to fix what wasn't broken. If you track one Emerald Shard at a time instead of all of them, which is the first game that you do, I don't know why they changed that, but Sonic and Shadow is very fun. I can get behind some Tails and Knuckles gameplay if I really feel like it. Same goes for obviously Eggman and Rouge as well. I like the story of this game as well. It really expands the world of the Sonic universe, introducing Eggman's grandfather and what he did, as well as the Arc and the Eclipse canon, which are just going to be reused again and again in later games. I also love Shadow as a character because it's Shadow the Hedgehog. Like, I struggle to find a Sonic fan who doesn't like Shadow. Now, Shadow's not my favorite character. That goes to the blue guy himself. But Shadow as a character is still really cool. I still really like Shadow. And what they did with his story in Maria is the perfect foundation for everything they're going to do with him later. And if it was just Sonic Adventure 2, which it was going to be when it was originally written, I think it serves as just a perfect bookend to his character. Now, obviously, we know he comes back, but I think judging this on its own, I think it just has the perfect resolution for his character. So I think it perfectly builds upon the characters we already know. You know, we've got the Team Sonic characters and Eggman, and then Rouge and Shadow being introduced were also just good characters in their own right. And every character is fun to play to a degree. I mean, I have my grievances with the point-obsessed mech shooters and the janky emerald hunting, but I think it's still fun. I think it's still a fun game. Not as fun as Adventure, in my opinion, but Adventure 2 Battle's still an S-tier Sonic game. Alright, Sonic Advance. We are going to talk about these games because these were part of my marathon. I did do some of the spin-off games. I'm going to put it up with Sonic 3 and 2. I can confidently say I've never gone back to play Sonic Advance. It's not really a game I think of that fondly. Sure, the level designs are great and some of the music is good, but don't really enjoy it. Like, it's fun when you're in the mood to play Sonic Advance, but honestly, I'd rather play a lot of other games above Sonic Advance. I do like what they did with the multiple playable characters. You can play as any of the classic characters, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, and I think that's a good addition. It definitely makes the game more replayable because they all play very differently to each other. I don't think it really elevates the game. While it is good, I think they had these extra playable characters, I don't think it really saves this game. Alright, Sonic Advance 2. This might be a controversial take, but you're going. Actually, no, I'll leave it here. Because I think it is a good game. I just found it really hard when I went to play it. There's only one stream of Sonic Advance 2. This is one of the rare games in the marathon I didn't finish, because I just kept dying over and over. I couldn't even beat one character story. I found Advance 2 very punishing and unforgiving, that I just kind of got tired of playing it and didn't finish it, and just moved on to the next game after this. I think it's fun. The game is a cool character that they introduced. Yeah, as a game, I think it's just on the level of Sonic 1 and CD. If I'm playing an Advance game, it's going to be Advance or 3. I've not gone back to 2. Sonic Heroes was next, and I'm going to give this an A, because I think it's better than these games, but I don't think it's as good as these games. Sonic Heroes, I think it's very fun, but it's not aged well. I think is the best way to put it. It's not aged well. The models are beautiful, cutscenes are great, especially the CGI cutscenes. They're amazing, but the gameplay is not the best, especially if you're playing the PS2 version. I mean, even on GameCube and Xbox, it's not great. This is a game I played a lot growing up, but I don't go back to as often as the other ones. Usually my 3D Sonics are like Adventure, Adventure 2, Unleashed, especially with the PC compilation, but we'll get into that. Generations, stuff like that. I don't really go back to Heroes often. I think it's a good 3D game. I think I love the team mechanic. I think it's a nice way to shake up the formula. I like the new characters they added. Well, not new characters they added, more so characters they brought back. I mean, there is a new character, Omega. They bring back Cream, they bring back Big, they bring back Shadow, they bring back Rouge, and then there's also all the Chaotix who haven't been seen since the classic days. I like that all the characters are brought back. Very boring to 100% because you have to play the game 4 times over and get all the Chaos Emeralds. Sure, you only have to get the Chaos Emeralds as one team, but getting the Chaos Emeralds as one team is hard enough. Yeah, it's not great. Also, I have just a problem with, one of the zones in this game. If you know, you know. Sonic Heroes, it's fine. It's a fine game, but it's not to the level of the adventure games, in my opinion. Of course, there are positives to Sonic Heroes, like the level design is great, music is amazing. I think this might be one of the best Sonic soundtracks, period. As well as that all the characters are written well. I feel like all their dialogue feels very in character, and like somehow the characters would react. But yeah, it's just the gameplay and the controls that really bring this game down from being a top tier Sonic game. Advanced Tree, I had this game on Game Boy Advance as a kid, so this is the one I definitely played the most, but I never 100%ed it until this like stream series. And honestly, it's gonna go and be with Sonic Advance 1. I think it's better than Sonic Advance 2, of course, because I actually finished this game. I have a lot of nostalgic memories of playing this game as a kid. I like the team-up mechanic. How this differs from the other two games in terms of playable characters, you pick one character to mainly play as, and then you pick a second character, either Tails, Knuckles, Amy, or Cream, to be a backup character, and you get a special ability depending on who you pick. Like if you pick Amy, both your characters get a hammer, Tails lets you fly, etc. I think there's some really cool team mechanics you can do here. Also, whenever you pick a duo, they have a little sprite they have a sprite artwork together. Some of them are very cute. Like if you pick Amy and Sonic, Amy has Sonic's arm wrapped around hers, and Sonic just looks exasperated. There's some other cute ones as well. I think the expressiveness of the sprites was done really well. Music in this is also really good. I also think the level design in this game is really fun. I do like the hub world and the multiple acts kind of system. I do think what brings this game down is trying to 100% it and get all the Chow. To finish the game, you need to get all the Chow, and I needed a guide. I needed a guide to get the Chow. I'm just not even going to beat around the bush. As well as that, you can't get some of them on a single playthrough. You have to replay some of these acts multiple times, and it's kind of annoying to get through. So I think it's a fun game, but I think it's just a fun any percent game. When you go to 100% it to get to the final boss is when it gets kind of annoying. Sonic Shuffle, oh god, you are going here. I put the characters on normal AI, and they kicked the shit out of me. I don't think this is as fun as a Mario Party. I'd rather play Mario Party over this game. The minigames are cool, they're fine, but oh my gosh, I think the board gameplay needs some serious reworking. There's too many chance elements for you to strategize. At least when I play. Maybe I'm just a really lucky person and I'm the one with the wrong take here, but I feel like at least when you're playing Mario Party, there are chance elements to go in your way, but you can at least strategize. You can at least have a plan to mitigate the chance elements and how much could go wrong, in my opinion. Sonic Shuffle does not let you do that. Sonic Shuffle pretty much decides who's gonna win before you even start. Now, sure, it might be fun with actual people, you know, if you're all actually playing the game. I don't think it would work being re-released today. I think Sonic Shuffle stays where it belongs in the past. I don't think it's as fun a party game. Shadow the Hedgehog. Okay, this is a game I don't particularly like, so I feel like I'm gonna be a little harsher to it. I don't think it's Sonic Shuffle bad, but you know what? No, because a lot of my criticisms are the same as Advanced Tree. So I'm going to put Shadow the Hedgehog in B, because I think it's a fine game on its own. I think the problem comes when you're trying to 100%, not even 100% it, when you're trying to get to the true ending. Because there is a true ending, even though the game has 10 others before it. You have to get all 10 before you can play the true story and final boss. It's not fun. It is not fun to go through all 10. There's 10 stories. You have to play this game 10 times. You can't even level select to speed it up. You have to play through all of it 10 times. It's so boring that I don't think anyone would bother to do it. I mean, people have bothered to do it because there's footage of people finishing the game, but oh my gosh, it's not fun. Music is great. This is another amazing Sonic soundtrack. Its acting is great. I like the models for the most part. I mean, there's some where they look really weird. But I like the story. I think delving into Shadow's backstory was a perfect idea because a lot of his past was left very ambiguous in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and I think they kind of knew they wanted to make a Shadow the Hedgehog game because they didn't really explain what he was in Sonic Heroes, so I feel like when they were making Sonic Heroes, and left the question of if this Shadow is an android or not. Answering all the questions from Sonic Heroes definitely helps. They went about this in the most tedious way possible. I really don't like Shadow the Hedgehog. I don't think it's the worst Sonic game. I think there are worse than it, but oh boy, it's not great. It's not great to get to the true ending. Sonic 06. Oh boy. Now, this might be controversial, but I like him more than Shadow the Hedgehog. I'm sorry, I really do. Yes, it is a slog. It is not fun. I don't generally have fun playing Sonic 06, but at least you don't have to play Sonic 06 10 times over and over again. As well as that, I think people rag on Sonic 06 for being a bad game, and it is, don't get me wrong. But it's the bad game you can enjoy, which is infinitely more fun than the bad game that is just bad. At least Sonic 06, you're gonna get a laugh out of it. If you're a content creator, you're gonna get content out of it. It's not a bad game that you don't enjoy, it's a bad game you do enjoy. And that's my opinion on it. Yes, there are some deaths that are out of your control. Yes, there are some glitches in the game that just are inexcusable. But it's nowhere near as tedious as Shadow the Hedgehog is. Like, nowhere near. It's a night and day difference. When I was streaming this game, I was at least a little bit excited to play more Sonic 06. I can't say the same about Shadow the Hedgehog. So I think for that reason I am ranking Sonic 06 higher than Shadow the Hedgehog. Of course, like all games, 06 has positives. Like always, the music was amazing. Sonic's story was a bit of a bust, but I like Shadow and Silver's. They were fine. I also liked playing as Shadow and Silver. Yeah, Silver wasn't as fast as the others, but I think that was by design. I liked his physics-based gameplay. I think it was unique. I've never seen another Sonic game do that, so I think for trying something new, I have to at least commend it a little bit. And Shadow was still really fun to play regardless, and of course, playing as Sonic was fun. It was just his story that wasn't great. The Sonic, structure we know is still there. So, I think it's better than Shadow the Hedgehog. Not by much, by maybe 1%, but I think it's still more fun than that. But also, it's still a bad video game that I think you should be very aware of the risks going in before playing. Sonic and the Secret Rings isn't part of the well polished as it could have been. Now, not the full reason, there were other reasons. Sonic and the Secret Rings is not completely to blame, but it's still not great, and this game suffers a lot of the problems. I think it goes into C. The motion controls are not were not the way. The Wii had just came out and they wanted a Sonic title to come out with it, and of course it's a Wii game so it needs motion controls. I completely get that, but there were so many different ways they could have gone about it, which we will talk about later. And of course I played this with a controller mod. There are ways to calibrate your controller to play Sonic and the Secret Rings, and there's a fan remake coming out that will fix a lot of issues, and I think it was a bit better than just playing it, especially since my Wii copy's busted. I'm not playing Sonic and the Secret Rings legit anytime soon, but yeah, I'm not coming back to this game. I like the party mode. The party mode's really fun, and I played a lot of it as a kid. I'd love a chance to play the party mode again. I have a lot of memories of playing Sonic and the Secret Rings party mode as a kid, but I don't think I'm coming back to this anytime soon. I think Sonic and the Secret Rings, unfortunately, doesn't really have a lot for you to go back to. I will say the story of this game is a lot more original than a lot of the other games, because they bring Sonic into the world of the Arabian Nights and you're meeting all the characters you know, but role-playing in this new world, and I think it's really cool. I love the setting variety. You've got the desert, you've got Dinosaur Jungle, which has even come back in Sonic Racing Cross World, as well as Kraken Bay. You've also got the White Palace, you've got the graveyard. It's a very well designed game. The aesthetics are amazing, it looks great. The music is absolutely good. I think the music of Sonic and the Secret Rings is very underrated for what it is. Unfortunately, I think playing it is the big problem with Sonic and the Secret Rings. It wasn't great. I'll just tell you that much, it was not great. Alright, Sonic Unleashed. I feel like a lot of people have been waiting for my opinion on this one, and honestly, it goes up in S tier. And I would have said this with or without the recompile. So, a little bit of history lesson on me. The only Sonic Unleashed I had growing up was the Wii version, which is still a fine port, but it is not as good as the HD version. As well as that, also with it being the Wii, they force in motion controls, so it's kind of like the Wii version of Punch-Out, if you know what that is. We have to swing the Wii remote and nunchuck to punch a Sonic, and your arms get tired really quickly playing Unleashed. I always liked Unleashed. It was kind of though, because, you're giving yourself an arm workout by playing Sonic the Hedgehog. Then a fateful day in 2025, me and Barzo, you guys know Barzo, we were hanging out in VC after a stream. I think it was Resident Evil, I can't be sure though, but we were streaming something together and then we were just hanging out afterwards, because we usually hang out for hours after. No, it was Xenoblade. We were hanging out after Xenoblade, and we were scrolling Twitter while we were talking to each other, and we saw the Sonic Unleashed recompile get announced. We had no idea what it was. It's just the first item I've ever heard of it, but we looked into it and found out what a recompile was, that the HD version of Sonic Unleashed had become completely playable on PC. So we found a ROM on Internet Archive that took us 6 hours to download. Oh my gosh, Internet Archive, why are your servers so bad? But now we have it on Google Drive, so we can get it whenever we want. Hit me up if you ever want to play Sonic Unleashed recompile. So we got the ROM, we got all the DLC files, and then recompiled Sonic Unleashed on our PC. So now with the recompiler, I can confidently say with how accessible it is, because a lot of us have the ROM now, and a lot of us are generally nice and will help you get the ROM if you need it. So I think with the recompiler, and there's a lot of Sonic fans who will help you get all the things you need if you need it, Sonic Unleashed recompile is amazing. I love everything about it. Finally getting to play HD Sonic Unleashed, I get it now. I mean, I never didn't get it. I always liked it. I think as well with the features of Unleashed recompile, and I know it's a bit unfair to judge it based on the recompile and some of the additions they added, but I think in the modern day, Unleashed recompile is the best way to play Sonic Unleashed, and some of the features they added don't feel the same without it. I think the upscaled graphics, the widescreen, being able to turn off the god-awful battle theme, I think this is just... It elevated what was already like 9 out of 10 into that 10 out of 10 spot for me. I think Sonic Unleashed, especially with the PC recompile, if you're going to play any version, play that one, is an amazing, amazing game. And anyone who hasn't played Sonic Unleashed, go to my Discord and reach out to me. I will help you get this set up, because every Sonic fan deserves to play the Unleashed recompile. Music is amazing. Gameplay is amazing. Even the night sections. I feel like the night sections get a lot of flack that is undeserved. Sure, it's not as fun as the day stages. I will always go back to play the day stages more often, but I still think the night stages can be fun. I think it was fun to try something different, as well as that also the globetrotting adventure mechanic, or like feel that this game has, is amazing. All the locations are great. The Rabatos looking like Athens, Greece is amazing. Chunan in China looks so pretty, as well as Adabat looks very pretty. And also Eggman Land, also as a final level, is like one of my favorite video game final gauntlets ever. It perfectly throws every mechanic you've done in the game back at you, and I think it's done so well. And the final boss and Endless Possibilities, like, it's so good. It's just such a good game. I think anyone who hasn't played Sonic Unleashed seriously needs to try it. I think I still like the adventure games more, but Sonic Unleashed definitely top 3 Sonic games, hands down. Sonic and the Black Knight. Now, I feel like, I've said I've had some controversial takes before, but I think this is a really controversial take. I'm honestly putting Sonic and the Black Knight in S tier, and I don't care what anyone says about it. I love Sonic and the Black Knight so much. It is I think it is the most underrated Sonic game. Yes, it still has some of the motion control problems as Sonic and the Secret Rings, because it's in that storybook Wii era series where they put Sonic into the world of King Arthur and the characters are more role-playing than actually being themselves. But you know what? I don't care. I love King Arthur stories, so I'm okay with this. I mean, obviously, I'm for people who don't know me, I'm such a medieval fantasy nerd that you just put me into a world of swords and sorcery and I'm gonna love it. I mean, hell, one of my favorite Final Fantasies is Final Fantasy 16, which had a mix. I love the sword gameplay. I am a sword guy. Like, I've got 7 swords in my room. Foam, of course, but I've still got like 7 swords in my room. So I think giving Sonic a sword works better. I know Shadow the Hedgehog was conceived out of fans wanting Sonic to have a weapon of some sort, and they felt like giving him a gun felt out of character, but I feel like a sword fits perfectly in his character as a protector, which is very similar to a knight. I think sword works perfectly as a perfect balance between having a weapon and it not seeming edgy. The music for this game is so underrated. Camelot Castle is such a bop, and honestly, I want Camelot Castle to be a track in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. I have the perfect pitch for a Sonic and the Black Knight themed track, and honestly, if you want a video about more tracks I would add into Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, let me know and I'll definitely make a video on it. but Sonic and the Black Knight is definitely up there as one of my favorite Sonic games. It's so underrated, and honestly, I might make a Sonic and the Black Knight experience video in the style of all the stream highlight videos I do, because honestly, I think Black Knight deserves it. This is hands down the best written Sonic that has ever existed. I think this is the best Sonic has ever been written, and I don't think they have ever come close to how perfect they've nailed Sonic's character in this. Sonic and the Black Knight is so underrated, and honestly, it is S tier Sonic game, and I don't care what anyone says about it. So before we go to talk about modern era Sonic, I want to go talk about the other spin-offs I played before then, because I honestly forgot to do them in release order. Sonic Rush, I think it's a solid A tier. I don't go back to play Rush very often, mostly because my 3DS is like broken, so I can only play it through legitimate PC means. But I still like Sonic Rush. I played it a lot growing up as a kid, because it was one of the few Sonic games on DS. So I played Rush a lot. I've 100%ed it countless times. I think it's a perfect blend of what we know in a new style. And also Blaze the cat making a comeback from Sonic 06. Actually no, she was in this first, so I think Blaze is... I like Blaze as a character. I like her friendship with Cream. I think it's really cute. I think her traits as a character are really refreshing to see in a Sonic character. I don't think we really have a lot of people who... How do I put it? I just like her character. I think her character is really well written. She meshes well with other characters. I like her dynamic with, obviously, as I said, I love her friendship with Cream. I think her dynamic with Amy, maybe not so in Rush, but in games that come after it, I think her dynamic with Amy is very fun, where they have like a kind of budding rival kind of thing. I like her dynamic with Sonic as two heroes who both like completely trust each other as well. I think it's really cool. I love her friendship with Silver as well. They've kind of gone back and forth on if Silver and Blaze know each other after 06 retconned itself, but I think they've settled on they are friends, and I really like her friendship with Silver. Yeah, I like Blaze, and I like Sonic Rush. Sonic Rush is a very good game. It's very fun. Has one of the most unique soundtracks, I think, out of the Sonic franchise. Like, and that's saying something for a Sonic OST, but I think it's one of the most unique ones out there, and still really works well. Also, the gameplay is really fun. It's really fun. I think it's even a step above all the 2D games we've gotten so far. It's better than all the classics. It's better than the advanced games, I think. I think Dimps really found their niche with Sonic Rush, and they knew what they were doing. Which is why they made a sequel right after. Sonic Rush Adventure came out right after, and honestly, I don't think it's as good as Sonic Rush, but I'm putting it... No, I'm gonna be controversial. It's gonna go at par with Sonic Rush. I think Sonic Rush is a bit better, but I still like Adventure because I still have fonder memories of me playing Adventure than I had of me playing Sonic 3 and 2. Honestly, it's got what you love about Sonic Rush. It's got the tight level design, the good music. Sonic and Blaze are back as playable characters. I think what brings Rush Adventure down a little bit is the sailing. I think the sailing is not great. The sailing is not as good as it was on original hardware. I also think the fact that sailing being how you get the Chaos Emeralds was also not the best thought out. I think they should have done what they did with Blaze, where as Blaze you just need to refight the bosses to get the Soul Emeralds. I think that works so much better. I mean, sure, I understand you don't want to make people have to fight the bosses 3 times. 1 time to clear it in the story, and then 1 for the Soul Emeralds, and then again for the Chaos Emeralds. I understand 3 times might be a bit of an overkill, but maybe give Sonic a difficult version of the level. Like, I don't know, make Sonic go through it with 1 ring or something. There were so many other ways they could have handled getting the Chaos Emeralds. In fact, they relied on the sailing. I think kind of brings the game down because the sailing was not the most fun. But I think the levels on their own are still good enough to give you a fun time with it. Sonic Rivals, honestly, this goes into D tier. I had 0 fun playing this game, at least with Sonic 1 and Sonic CD. I had a little bit of fun, but I had no fun playing Sonic Rivals. It is such a boring racing game. It really brings the game down. Sonic Rivals was not fun. I did not have fun playing it. When I found out the game is basically just a glorified card collector, I lost all interest. And honestly, that's why I didn't even play Sonic Rivals 2. I looked it up, saw it was pretty much the same game, and just didn't play it. So, yep, that's where Sonic Rivals and Sonic Rivals 2 go. They're not worth it in my opinion. I do like that that Sonic Rivals is canonically how Silver gets back into the universe after the 06 retcon. So I could appreciate it for that, but it's not worth the playthrough. Now we got the Riders games. I really like the Riders games. Honestly, Sonic Riders goes into A tier. I don't think I can give it an S because it has problems. It has a lot of problems that hold it back. But honestly, I think Riders, honestly, Zero Gravity, both deserve an A tier. I have put countless hours into both as a kid. I had Sonic Riders on the PS2 and I had Zero Gravity on the Wii. I spent so many hours playing both these as a kid, forcing my friends to play them who unfortunately did not understand the game. So I kind of steamrolled them. I had fun. I had fun playing them, but they didn't much. I love firstly, the CGI cutscenes in both these games look fucking phenomenal. I think just as good as the Unleashed pre-rendered cutscenes. I think these cutscenes are just that good. And even the in-game model cutscenes, they don't even look that bad because the models in both these games are so much more expressive than the models we normally get that the downgrade between CGI and them isn't even that bad because the models are so expressive they make up for it. And also, I think once you understand how to play the game, the Riders games are so much more fun to jump into. Yes, they have a steep learning curve. I completely understand that. So it's not accessible as, like, let's say a Mario Kart or like the Crash Team racing games. But I think had a sort of style to it, that aesthetic, that kind of cool factor that made Sonic the icon he is. I think Riders just has that cool factor that Sonic was built on, where it has that staying factor in my mind than the kart racers do. I love the kart racers, but I think Sonic Riders just had that little something extra. It felt a bit more Sonic than the kart racing games do. Don't get me wrong, I had a steep learning curve and they should have addressed that and had a better tutorial in the game. But I think once you understand how Riders works, I think it is a very underrated racing game. I love both Riders and Zero Gravity. And then Free Riders comes along and fucks up everything. I hate Sonic Free Riders. I never had a Connect, so I never played it. But oh boy, I have seen more than enough videos of people trying to play Sonic Free Riders with the Connect, and it just does not work. I even played it with a controller, and it still wasn't fun. It's better, but it's not that fun. Sonic Free Riders is the worst Sonic Riders game. I understand the hate. I never want to play it legit. I will only ever play it with the controller mod. They also shafted my boy Omega. Omega hasn't shown up since Colors DS all the way up to Forces. They just didn't want to show Omega for some reason. What is the 2010s era of Sonic's problem with having Omega in games? But it is very clear that these three are really close friends. It feels so wrong to me that Shadow and Rouge did not bring Omega as their third team member. I understand they needed a way to work Metal Sonic into the story so that he could be the true villain at the end, but this was not the way to go about it. You could have had Metal working with King Doc, Eggman's alias for that game. It would have worked just fine. You did not have to shaft Omega like this. I hate everything about the Team Dark in this game. Since we're talking about racing games, let's blast through the kart racers really quick. Sonic All-Stars Racing, I'm gonna put it in B. It's alright. It's alright as a racing game on its own. I think if you had only this game, you wouldn't complain too much. But I think because just the later racing games are better than it. All-Stars Racing Transformed, I think I can confidently give an A tier to. It's such a good racing game. Like, I have countless memories of playing this. As you guys know, I got a Wii U one year, and this was one of the games I got with my Wii U. I can confidently say Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed was the game I spent the most time playing. I love Racing Transformed, and honestly, I'm not the only one. A lot of people love Racing Transformed, so much that they brought back the transforming mechanic in Sonic Racing Crossworlds. I honestly think Racing Transformed might be the best sumo digital kart racing game. I think of their, like, trilogy, I think Racing Transformed is the best. And I'm definitely not alone in that opinion. Team Sonic Racing, I'm gonna put it up with Transformed. I don't think it's as good as Transformed, but I do think it's a step above Racing. So honestly, I think Team Sonic Racing deserves A. I know a lot of people give it some slack. It should have definitely had more post-release content. I think the content is a bit underwhelming. But as someone who always loved the Sonic content more than the Sega content in general, I think I liked Team Sonic Racing a bit more than All-Stars Racing, but I do think Transformed is a lot more fun than Team Sonic Racing. But I still had fun with Team Sonic Racing. It's not to say it's a bad game. I think a lot of people assume when you're speaking a negative on a game that you dislike it. I really like Team Sonic Racing. I like it more than the first racing game. I think it's the middle ground in their trilogy. But yeah, I think Team Sonic Racing is still a fun game. I was going to save this for last, but since we're doing all the racing games, I think I'll just get out of the way. Crossworlds, I'm going to give it an A. Because I don't think it's a perfect racing game, but honestly, it's the game it's current, it's fun, and it's the game I'm going back to every time there's a festival. So honestly, Sonic Racing Crossworlds, you deserve the A you get. Now it could be better. There's a lot of balance issues and some problems with there's a lot of balance issues and problems with Crossworlds that honestly I could make a whole video about. I could rant about Crossworlds a lot, but honestly I think what it does right, it does really right. The music is amazing. Some of the tracks are really fun. I love the characters they're bringing over through collabs and the Sega characters they're bringing back. What Sonic Racing Crossworlds does right, it does. As well as that, also bringing back the Babylon Rogues and the extreme gear from Sonic Riders. I think it just deserves enough praise for doing that alone. I know Ian Flynn's whole thing is kind of bringing back continuity in the Sonic universe, and I'm so glad that this game is being a part of that, bringing back beloved characters and the beloved vehicles in Sonic Riders. And honestly, the extreme gear is the only thing I ever play. Sure, I played a kart from time to time, but I'm mostly a board main. Alright, I'm only going to talk about 2 of these spin-offs for now. I want to talk about the Olympic Games as we're going through modern era Sonic, because I feel like I have a point to make about this. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, it's a B. I think it's a B. It's not the worst Olympic Games. We have worse Olympic Games, but I think it's just going to go up here in B, because it's fun, but there are better and worse than it. I think it is the middle ground of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. Now, their 2010 Olympic Games, that's honestly going up in A tier. I don't care, and yeah, I'm kind of counting the Wii and DS game together, which I know I really shouldn't do, but the story mode DS was honestly so fun. I really enjoyed getting to replay it through this marathon. I haven't played it since I was a kid, and it brought back so many nostalgic memories. I really loved it, and also just the Wii game is so fun that I could confidently go back to it and have a good time. And I have gone back to it with friends over Parsec and had a good time playing it. So honestly, Olympic Games, you deserve more credits than you've gotten, especially in the 2010 Winter one. Alright, unfortunately we have made it to Modern Sonic, and this is where Sonic started to go downhill, starting with Sonic Colors. I'm gonna put you in B. But I'll put you at like the top of B, because I think Sonic Colors is just a fine game. It doesn't do anything wrong. It functions completely fine, but I don't really have fun playing Sonic Colors. It's the one I'll go back to more willingly than any of the others in B tier. No, not true, actually. Sorry, you deserve to be up here. But it's just fine. I don't think it really does itself any favors. This is when they started to really simplify Sonic, and it didn't work. It really did not work. They tried to be too Mario. They said this themselves. This isn't me putting words in Sonic Team's mouth. They've said this themselves, and it didn't work because Sonic as a character was meant to not be Mario. So the fact they tried to copy him and do kind of a similar game to his and appeal to their market was just what was going wrong. As well as that, also changing the writers to people who don't know Sonic was really the beginning of the end. And honestly, any other franchise, it probably would have died here. So I'm so glad it didn't die here. We got the chance to come back, but honestly, this game kind of ushered in an era of Sonic that gives it the reputation it has today, and it's not a good one. Generations, I think, is a fluke in the system, where it's actually a really good Sonic game. No, actually, I'll put it in S. I go back to it enough to put it in S here. Sonic Generations, I think, is really fun. I think just focusing on the gameplay and just making sure you had a good game with a good basic foundation is the perfect mix of it. Now, was it stupid of them to have that foundation and then completely throw it out the window after this game? Yes, but we're not going to talk about that right now. I love Sonic Generations for what it does. The level gameplay is so fun. Taking the fan favorite level from every mainline Sonic game, I think worked really well. It's fun to go back and replay, and honestly with the 2024 remaster, I do keep going back to Sonic Generations and just replaying the levels for fun. It is so fun to just go back and replay for just a few minutes. So I think that's what gives Sonic Generation the S tier it deserves above like the other games in this era. And I want to talk about Shadow Generations on its own, because I can't just lump this game in with Sonic Generations. It's so different foundationally, and it honestly deserves its own praise as an S tier Sonic game as well, just as much as Sonic Generations does. It has that foundation that Sonic Generations has, and just makes you play as Shadow through his levels. But they also add to it. You can use Shadow's Chaos Control, you can use he gets all his Doom power-ups from Black Doom, who found his way back in this game. The Doom power-ups really add a whole level to the gameplay, as well as once you finish the game and get the Doom Wings whenever you want, and it just opens up so many other pathways you couldn't get to before for so many different collectibles and it makes just replaying the level so much more fun once you have new Doom powers that you come back to. It really just, even Doom powers that seem insignificant at first, they really create a whole new way to play through the level. I really like Shadow Generations, and its story is so good. This game had me tearing up and almost bawling my eyes out after how well they do Shadow and Maria's friendship, because they bring back Maria because of the Time Eater's time travel shenanigans. They bring back Gerald. They made Big lose Froggy again. They've also brought back Omega, the first modern era Sonic game to have Omegas, as well as the beautiful animation they did as a prequel. It was so fun to watch. I don't think I can rank Shadow Generations and Sonic Generations together. They both complement each other really well. I think they both have to be treated separately because they both are central points in each of their characters' story. But I don't think they can be considered sister games to each other, or I guess brother games. Iron Sonic at London 2012. I'm gonna put it up here. I don't think it's as good as Winter Olympic Games, but I have fun with London. I have memories of playing London with my cousins and with my family that definitely have lasted the test of time. I still have fun memories of London. Yes, they could have done it better, but I have fun playing the 3DS game, doing the story mode with my family, and doing the sticker rush mode in London 2012 with my family, getting to play the events as well with my friends. So London 2012, I think it's a decent Mario and Sonic game. Probably in the middle, but definitely above the 2008 game. And this is when Sonic really starts to go down a hill. Sonic Lost World, you are going into D. You don't even deserve the courtesy of a C. You're going into D. Sonic Lost World, I think, might be either tied or is my least favorite Sonic game. Every character is bad in this game. Sonic and Tails are completely bastardized and stripped to their worst features. Eggman, although still funny in Lost World, is still not a good character. Orbot and Cubot are just as annoying as they were in Sonic Colors, as well as also the writers just kind of doing whatever they wanted. And also the gameplay is not fun. They try to do a more explorative thing with Sonic, which would have been fine if the levels actually rewarded you for exploring them, but you don't. You can only find red wings. They're the only collectible you can get in this game, and you don't even get anything until you get all of them, which is Super Sonic. Which, I mean, sure, I'm glad you put Super Sonic in the game, but it's not a good enough red reward for what I went through to get all the red rings. As well as that, also, in my opinion, Super Sonic just kind of feels out of place because the Chaos Emeralds have no bearing on the story, which is just another problem with these writers, which I could get into a whole rant about. And also, why are the Wisps here? Why the fuck are the Wisps here? We know why. It's because these writers only like stuff they created. They don't like anything that was actually in the Sonic universe before they came along, so they feel like they have to use the Wisps. And also have this dumb idea in their head that the Wisps are more powerful than the Chaos Emeralds, which thankfully got cut from Colors. Which thankfully got cut from Colors lore-wise, but oh my gosh, I feel like they still believe it in their heads. The Deadly Six are the worst villains ever created. I hate all of them. There's not a single one of them I like. All of them have one character trait and they're all annoying. Sonic Lost World is one of, if not the worst Sonic games. Let's take a break from upsetting Sonic games and talk about some mediocre ones. This is when they kind of started to do their own thing with it. The Dream events are cool, but this is when they kind of started lowering in quality, and it kind of just keeps going downhill from here. 2014 has its fun, but I think this is kind of you play all the events once in this and then you go back to play the other ones instead. Also the fourth game, and they haven't done anything original since the 2010 Olympic Games. It's been 4 years and you haven't done anything else. Like, come on guys, you're better than this. This is when they kind of started slacking on the Olympic Games, and it's really starting to show here. Rio 2016, I think this is the worst Olympic Games. Rio 2016 is not fun. This is really where the quality just hits a rock bottom. Honestly, I think because of that, these deserve to go up here. Because I remember playing 2016, I remember not having fun with it. As well as also the guest characters they add. Why didn't you just add them as characters? They added this new mechanic where they had a character who was great at a specific event and included them as a playable character for that specific event. Why not just make them playable characters? They added like Rouge as a playable character for one of the events. They added Rosalina as a playable character for a specific event. Why not just include them as full playable characters? These aren't like obscure characters. Some of the characters they added are well known and beloved. On the Sonic side, we had characters like Jet the Hawk, Wave. Rosalina is hands down probably the most popular Mario character. What do you mean people wouldn't want to play as them? Like, make them full playable characters, but no, they're just guest characters. And also, the minigames aren't as fun, where they're kind of just doing the same thing and it's starting to wear off because they're not really innovating on themselves. They're just kind of doing the same thing again. Whereas at least with 2010 and 2012, they kind of innovated on themselves. 2016, they're just not really developing on their ideas. They're adding new stuff, but they're not really stuff that feel worthwhile having added, if you get what I mean. So Rio 2016 is unfortunately the worst Mario and Sonic game. Sonic Forces, I'm not even gonna pretend we don't know where this is going. When I was alluding to what game Sonic Lost World will be tied with, it was Sonic Forces. Sonic Forces is the worst story I've ever written. It has all the problems of Sonic Lost World. It has the worst versions of every character. They're completely flanderized down to their worst character traits. They brought back characters that we didn't want, like Zavok. For some reason, modern Sonic in general is convinced that we like the Deadly Six when everyone doesn't like them. I can't think of anyone who likes the Deadly Six. I don't like them. None of my friends like them. And everyone I've talked to do not like the Deadly Six, but they're forced to keep coming up again and again for some reason. As well as Sonic Forces is not fun to play. Sure, there are some good songs. The Avatar is a cool idea, getting to make your Sonic OC and put him or her into the game. I like the dedication they put into the Avatar, but Classic Sonic and Modern Sonic are not fun to play. Classic Sonic shouldn't even be here. The writers can't even stay consistent with their own lore, where in Sonic Generations, Classic Sonic was from the past. Now he's from another dimension. They can't even just stay consistent with their own lore. As well as that Infinite is one of the worst written villains I've ever seen. Oh, boo-hoo. Shadow bullied you. Boo-hoo, it's Shadow the Hedgehog, get over it. He doesn't like anyone besides his two friends. I hate Sonic Forces. It is one of the worst Sonic games we have ever gotten, and it was such a letdown, considering this was meant to be the 20th anniversary game. Somehow I completely got two spin-offs that I played on stream and actually generally liked, one of them anyway. So we're going to talk about them now. Sonic Battle. Yeah, I think this is very overlooked, honestly. I'm going to put it in B because I don't think it could have worked better, but honestly, I had fun with Sonic Battle. It was a pretty fun game. I'll actually go back to Sonic Battle when I have a down period at work and don't have anything else to do. Sonic Battle, you're a good time. You're just a good time. You're not like a great time that I recommend everyone go play, but you're an alright time. Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. You are just a bad video game. You don't deserve any kind of saving grace. You're a bad RPG. Like, I know what makes a good RPG. I play Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, Persona, Xenoblade, Fire Emblem. I know a good RPG when I play one, and this was not it. The characters are boring. The gameplay is so uninspired. This is the first Sonic OST that actually hurts my ears to listen to. This is a bad RPG. The battle system has so many flaws with it. It would honestly be here all day just to list them all. The character writing is just kind of meh. The models, I mean, I know this is a DS game, but like, come on, you're better than this. This Sonic Chronicles is a really bad RPG. And I know a bad RPG when I play one, because JRPGs are my favorite video game genre. This is a really bad RPG, and I really hope we get another Sonic RPG that's actually good, because it has so much potential as one. Now we have Mario Sonic at the 2020 Olympic Games. This was after they kind of took a break after making games with Sonic Forces. And this was their first real comeback, and honestly, it's not Rio. It's not Rio, but that's the only compliment I can give it. It's still not a great Mario and Sonic game. I like the new events, I like the mini games. The game looks great for a Switch game. I like that it's portable and you can bring it on to go, but honestly, it's still not great. They could have done so much more with it. And they completely cut Dream Events. This is the first Mario and Sonic game with no Dream Events of any kind. Or it might have been Rio, but at the very least, this game is noticeable. With Rio, it's just kind of part of the shit pile that was already there. This game is a noticeable difference. And they got rid of Dream Events to have classic 8-bit style minigames, which, I mean, they're cute, they're fun, but it's not. Dream Events weren't a gimmick. They were, like, thought out, and were actually a fun minigame. They weren't just, like, a gimmick tacked onto it. Dream events were the best part of the first 4 Mario and Sonic games, and they're just completely forgotten about after it. I say 2020 is worth a try with some friends, or to play through the story. It's not Rio, but it's still not as good as the other ones. Sonic Frontiers, I'm gonna give it an S, but it is gonna go up an A tier. Sonic Frontiers was the finally, we're actually back moment. They actually kind of finally realized what we wanted. They got rid of the writers that honestly ruined Sonic's image, and it still hasn't recovered to this day. They got a good writer who knows what he's doing, Ian Flynn, who writes the IDW comics, and I don't care if you don't like Ian Flynn's writing style, he's better than Pontac and Gaff ever were. He actually understands what the characters are. Everyone in this game is actually treated with respect. Sonic, he actually feels written correctly. Even if I don't like the voice direction Robert Craig Smith gave with this Sonic, I can still see him acting this way. He's still a cocky, sarcastic asshole, but when he's talking to his friends, he actually stops and listens to them, which is something Sonic has always done. I don't care if you guys like the... Honestly, no, I do care. If you guys like the Sonic wouldn't stop and listen to his friends because he's always running fast, that made him an asshole that doesn't listen to people, I'm sorry, that's not Sonic. It never was Sonic. He's always cared about his friends. He's always been a good person. He always would have stopped and listened to them if they needed to talk to him. Sonic's actually done right here, and some people are just upset that it's not, and some people are just upset that he's not the one character trait he was back in the 2010s era again. Knuckles was actually done right, written that he cares about the Master Emerald, and he's contemplating his life as a guardian. He hasn't talked about this emerald, honestly, since Sonic Heroes. It's Knuckles' main character trait, and they haven't talked about it. They also fixed Amy's character. Amy's character since her inception was just a girl hedgehog who's obsessed with Sonic, has rose-tinted glasses around him and fawns over him anytime she gets. It's time they actually add to her character, where she's not just a girl obsessed with Sonic. Sure, she still has feelings for him, hell that much through the dialogue, but it's not her only character trait now. So much more to her this time. She actually feels like a well-rounded character. And Tails, oh my boy Tails, they actually fixed him. Sonic Lost World made Tails one of the worst characters in fiction. He was an annoying asshole. His brains were the only thing they wrote about. They made Tails, who was one of the bravest characters, into a coward. Tails fought Chaos 4, saved Station Square from a missile launch, fought Eggman head-on in a 1v1. And this is the character that's a coward? Yes, Tails has always had confidence issues, but he always overcame them. He didn't cry and wait for Sonic to come save him like he's some kind of damsel in distress or princess locked in a tower. Tails always overcame these problems on his own. Sonic Lost World and Sonic Forces is the biggest disrespect to Tails that we've ever had, and Sonic Frontiers fixed all of that, having Tails acknowledge his faults, and have Sonic remind him that he's done great things on his own, and that he's capable of doing them again. And in the final Horizon DLC, we see Tails go out on his own. Well, yes, he was teamed up with Knuckles and Amy, but went out on his own to look for the Chaos Emeralds. Frontiers Tails is leaps and bounds ahead of Lost World and Forces, and remind me why he's my second favorite character after Sonic himself. Sonic Frontiers is what we needed. It is not a perfect game. Sure, it is graphical pop-in. Over-reliance on previous level designs and aesthetics is annoying, and we need to get some new ones. I completely agree with all the complaints Frontiers has, but when we compare it to Sonic Colors, Lost World, and Forces, it is leaps and bounds better than anything we've ever gotten in those games. Also, you can't lie and tell me you don't like the boss music.
It's time to face your fears when your time has come and gone. I'll be the one to carry on, and you can throw me to the walls, 'cause I am undefeatable.
Now, the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog is a very interesting one. It's a game written by the social media team. Give it a chance to make a Sonic game. And you probably hate me for putting it in A tier, but honestly, I'm a visual novel fan. Some of my favorite games out there are the Ace Attorney and Danganronpa series, which are mystery visual novels. So making a Sonic the Hedgehog mystery visual novel where you get to play as an OC character with Tails as your assistant, honestly, it's the perfect setup. The story for this game is that all the characters are hanging out on the Mirage Express, reference to the Sonic Mania. Shit, I forgot about Sonic Mania. We'll come back to Mania after. All the characters on the Mirage Express for Amy's birthday playing a murder mystery with each other. They find Sonic dead, and you need to go to each part of the cabin to find out who killed Sonic. It's actually a well-crafted mystery. You can tell that the social media team actually have a respect for the mystery genre and actually made a really compelling mystery that actually kind of threw me a little bit when we got to the final part and actually had to figure out who killed Sonic. Of course, in the end, Sonic's fine because it's a murder mystery party, and you find out this whole plan was constructed by Eggman, and the whole train is an Eggman robot just as a ploy to take over the world yet again. You know, classic Eggman plot. But as someone who's a big fan of Ace Attorney and other mystery genres like this, I loved this game. Sure, it might not be for everyone, but as someone who is a visual novel mystery fan, I love Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. And I think everyone should give it at least a chance, even if visual novels aren't your thing. If mystery novels aren't your thing, there's still a ton of fluff dialogue and funny character interactions that make it worthwhile. Yeah, I forgot to do Sonic Mania. It's up here in A tier. It's probably the best classic Sonic game we've ever had. It's made by fans of the classic 90s games, and it's clearly made with love for the fans. It originally started as a fan game, but when Sega caught wind of it, they gave them funding and allowed them to make it officially, which is really cool. And this game is just a perfect blend of what we love about the classics with a 20 years later twist. I think Sonic Mania is an amazing 2D Sonic game, and if you didn't like the classic games, I recommend giving Mania at least a chance, because I think you might come out to enjoy it. I also forgot about the Sonic 4 episodes because they don't deserve me talking about them. They're the worst things I've ever played, ever. Not just Sonic games, just the worst things I have ever touched. So they don't deserve me talking about them. They belong in D tier. And here is my finished tier list. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you think of some of these Sonic games, where your list differs from mine, and what hot takes you have for me, because I'm sure this list is going to cause some controversy. But this is how I felt after my Sonic marathon of 2024 and 5, because it kind of led into 2 years. I really enjoyed it. I'd love to do something like this again, and I'm still going to be playing Sonic for years to come. So yeah, let me know what you think of this list in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye!